Hey, we back. I'm here with Mudae. This may be, at least for now, the last of the old remakes because most of the topics we've been through now, the important ones anyway, don't need to redo every video, do I? Anyway, on that note, let me know if there is something particularly that you want me to go over again from the old videos. Yes. But what we're doing today is customization. So Mudae is very customizable, and I think I split this up into a couple of videos last time, and so we're going to be trying to be a bit more succinct, go through all the different types of customization. I have a nice little list written up here, which I'm going to go through. And I think there may be a couple of things on this list that even veteran players of Mudae might not know about, because there was actually one that I even didn't know about, so there you go. Anyway, let's get started. We're starting simple. So what have we got at the top? We've got at the top A. I'm sure you all know about this one because it tells you it half the time. The character alias. This simply changes the name that it shows when you roll the character or whatever. You can use AL to list all the aliases. So let's, for example, do AL on my Sakurajima, and that's going to list all of her aliases, and I can do A on one of them, for example this one, and now when I put this, it's going to be up here instead of my Sakurajima. They've swapped round. This second one down here just shows the top alias, or the second top if the top one is there. That's all that is. So not much to say about that one. Speaking of this second alias, we next have A2. A2 being set a custom alias, pretty much. Replace the secondary alias for the I'm command of the text you typed. With the actual alias command, you have to set one of the names that are in the bot, like official names. But with A2, you can have whatever you like. A lot of people go for notes and stuff on there as well, which is kind of fun. You can put like emojis or extra names or whatever. So that's kind of nice. As you can see, it's got a bunch of extra options here for doing it with a bunch of characters in one go. If you want, you can read about that if you're interested. But for the most part, it's just replacing names of characters. Next we have C. C, again, something that I'm sure you're aware of. Change image. If we're flicking through these images now here, we can see plenty of images for each character. I can't actually remember what the max image is now because they changed it. I think it's doubled, so it should be 50 images and 10 GIFs. You may need to correct me on that. But yes, there's plenty of them here, and you can set the default one with C as long as you own the character, although that might depend on the server you're on, because you can have fancy settings for that. If you want random images to appear in your roles, that is actually an option, something that most people don't seem to know about. If we do random image like that, there's 6 values here. So 0 is default images appearing in your roles are not random. So this enables people to actually use the C command and have them show up, you know. But if you fancy, you can get random images for various characters when you roll. This is obviously a personal thing. But yeah, it's kind of fun if you like to have some random images. If you maybe get bored of the same images going round and round all the time on your rolls, that's maybe the option for you. Speaking of getting bored of images, we then have AI, which is adding images to a character. Now, for the most part, this is a moderator command, but again, it does actually depend on the server. Some servers can set it so that everyone can do this, or some servers can set it so that you can do this only on the characters that you own, or something like that. It's kind of fun to have a mess around with it. As you can see, you can use set permission add in image char owner to allow this command for the character owners, or there's also obviously the restrict and channel restrict and whatever for other options. That's just generally Mudae moderation stuff. But yes, this allows you to add any Imgur link that you like to a certain character. You will have to upload the image to Imgur, obviously, to do that, and you have to make sure that you get the image link rather than the set of images link. I can't remember what they call it now in Imgur, but yes, as long as you get the right link, this should work fine. Recommended to add GIF when adding a GIF. It's got a bunch of settings here that you can have a look at: removing, swapping, arranging, etc. But yeah, this is a pretty fun one. If you get a big server with lots of people on it, it's kind of nice to see people adding loads of cool pictures for stuff. In general, I would advise you to try and keep the same size images as default, because people get used to it. It just looks a lot nicer. If you are interested in that, by the way, pretty sure it is 350 by 225. Again, you may have to correct me on that. It's been a while since I've been editing images for it. You can also find this kind of information in the official Mudae server down here, but I'm pretty sure that's what the size is. So yeah, there you go. We also have AC, which is a similar command but for adding an entirely new character. So this, you're going to have to specify the name of the character, the gender, the type of roles, and the Imgur link. It does not have an example here, so I will give an example. Sure. We will have AC. We could call them Bob. Sure. Gender will be M for male, as it says here. Replace roles with, say, Animanga for, you know, Animanga roles. And then I can send an Imgur link, which is going to be the same as up here, which is pretty cool. Now, these characters are not going to have any Kakura value, or at least not any significant Kakura value. By the default, they have about 30 value. As you claim more characters in a server, they will go up. As is the same with any character, but equally it's not by much, so you're normally not claiming them for Kakura. Also, I don't think they give Kakura when you divorce them. The only reason they have a Kakura value at all is for them gold 6 keys, because you can get keys on custom characters. I've actually never got a custom character onto my soul list, so I can't comment on what happens in that case. I suspect you probably can't get them on soul list, but feel free to experiment. Anyway, yes, custom characters is probably one of the big server customizations. We do have a couple more server customizations before we get into the personal stuff. So the next one is Claim React. This is, again, one that a lot of people don't seem to know about. Sets the different emojis for claiming on your server. Now, you probably know that at the moment, it's unclaimed, they don't have any emojis underneath by default. You can change that with toggle roles or whatever it is, toggle React roles. Sorry, I actually can't remember the command, but it pops up every now and again. I'm sure the one I mean from that big update where they removed them. Equally, at certain times of day, they will be there. So yeah, the emojis are pretty viewable sometimes, and you can actually set your own emojis for claims on servers. So for example, if I pop into here, there you go, you can see in the morning when we were getting reacts underneath in this server, we have a bunch of blob emotes as the claim emotes. These are instead of the hearts. It's pretty much the same concept, so nothing fancy there. But yeah, you can add any emote that you like there. The emote, I believe, has to be from the server that you're in. It might just be that the emote has to be in a Mudae server. I'm not sure. You can have a test with that if you want. But yeah, it's pretty good. You can also remove them, swap them, other options as it lists here. And we have CR list if you forget which emotes it can react with. On a similar vein, we also have Kakura React, which is the same thing basically, but replacing the Kakura reactions with other emojis. I normally don't like to change this one because people get very used to the Kakura React, and the type of emoji that pops up with the Kakura React does actually matter because you need to know what the color is. Whereas with the claim reactions, it doesn't really matter what they are. You just want to react on something. So I wouldn't advise to change this one, but if you want to, you can, and as long as everyone in your server gets used to it, that could be kind of fun. As it says, you have to list the color before the emoji, so this one will change all purple reacts to the little grapes emoji. Next on the list, we have embed color. This is the one you need level 1 key to unlock, and it will change the embed along the side of your character. So for example, Rem here, as you can see, has the default red for being claimed, and then I will just shove in this example command. I don't even know what color this is going to be honest. There you go, now blue. Fantastic. So you can put any hex code you want here. If you want hex color picker, just Google it. There's plenty of them all over Google. Plenty of other ways to get them as well. I'm sure you know about hex codes. But yeah, you can put anything you like there, and it's going to just change the little color along the side, which is kind of nice. Again, there's a bunch of options which you are welcome to read, mostly for mass coloring characters rather than just individually. I like to color them individually because I like to color them based on the picture. So Rem, for example, I would obviously give a bit of a light blue to match her hair if I was picking. But you can also color them based on other things like notes, page, or even key values or something if you want. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, we are now moving on to the more personal customizations. So we will go to rename harem, which does what you would expect. If you have a look at your MM, it will say up here your harem. Mine's Steve's harem. You can rename this any text you like. You can put Unicode emotes in there and stuff. I think you can put regular emotes. I'm not actually sure. Maybe not actually. I can't remember. You can put some sort of emotes in there, though. It's kind of finicky with them. It doesn't work a lot of the time, so try it and see what happens. But I think you have to stick to the Unicode ones. But yeah, that's kind of nice. I see a lot of people putting notes on their characters, which we will actually get to in a bit, of like tradability and stuff, and then they'll put a little key up in the rename harem. So if you've seen that around, then that's how you do that. Next we have rename claim. So this again does what it says on the tin. Your claim message. You can put any text you like here. You will need to put char name, a username in to define the position of those two in the text. So if I go and have a look at a server where I've actually changed it, we can see, oh, this is a bad example because it's an image, but we can still see them in there. So I have my current message, and we have username in there and char name, just representing the username and the char name. If you want to have an image or a GIF, then you just put the link to that image as your message. If you want to actually have username and char name in the link of the GIF or image, as I have here, you're going to want to put an underscore, as it says here, to replace all spaces with underscore. Because if you put spaces in the link, obviously it's going to break. So yeah, that underscore is pretty helpful if you're doing it within a link. As for generating these images, as it says, you want to go to memegem.link, which is what I'm using for this little Menhera-chan. People have asked me to do a video on this entirely in the past. I think I did one. I can't remember. It might be a bit old. But in general, all the instructions are on the website. So if I were you, I would go and have a look at that. For the most part, it's quite simple. You just want to set this image to your rename claim. And as you can see here, we have the default message as well. We can set that with RC none if we want to go back to it afterwards. We have the same deal with rename divorce. Yeah, it's exactly the same, just the divorce text instead of the claim text. You can still use memegem link, you can still use the underscores, nothing to say here. Now here's the one that I didn't know about, so maybe you won't know about it either. We have roles left, so you can actually change where the roles left thing appears. By default it is below the image, but you can have just above the embed, and not at all. I think that Saya does not enjoy the whole appearing above the embed thing, because that counts as a separate message and API issues in the past. I'm not actually sure about that. But yeah, all of these are, perfectly valid. You can have them wherever. But I would say in general it doesn't really matter. So most people are probably just going to be leaving it on default. But yeah, there you go. Roles left. That is indeed a command. We have notes. I said we'd get to notes later. Notes are actually pretty helpful because it's a good way to organize your harem. If you want to note things with a lot of people do with tradability, like I said. I've in the past done that as well. You can note them depending on how much you like them or something like that, or just organize them in general. But what we have is the, I believe, FM command. That's FN, sorry. So this will search in your harem all notes containing a certain text. So that means, say, if you note stuff with the word trade, you can then type FN trade. There you go, as the example says here. And that'll return everything with the text trade in. The W there obviously just being a flag for female characters. So yeah. But yeah, FN is a pretty helpful command. It's been updated a couple of times in the past for some quality of life stuff, so that's pretty good. And then notes just in general, really good for organization. As we saw earlier with the coloring and stuff like that, you can color by note. So if you have organized your whole harem with notes, then you can proceed to use other commands based on notes. Notes in general, I would advise using them if you have big harems and you want to be organized, but you do have to put the effort in to keep notes active. Also worth noting that traded characters or divorced characters do not keep their note. So if you are trading characters back and forth, you're not going to keep the notes. And a good point is the Bites the Dust Requiem abuse, which I've mentioned in past videos. It does involve divorcing everyone, so if you are in a server that does that, using notes is basically pointless, because every time you do Bites the Dust Requiem and Restore, you're going to lose all your notes, which can be kind of annoying. But yeah, most cases, notes are very helpful. I would advise using notes. We also have note image, which is basically the same thing, much less for organization and using of other commands, and more just for visual appearances, you know. But you can note an image, as the example says here, with maybe a source or something like that. You can note multiple image positions at once, as it says here. So yeah, that's kind of nice. But in general, I never use this command. I don't really see the point. You can if you like. It is here. Have fun. Now we get on to the fun profile stuff. This is probably the biggest bit of customization on the bot that most people enjoy doing if they know about it, but a lot of people don't. So we have PA. PA is the big one. Profile arrange. Arrange the order of the categories on your profile. So profile being the PR command. This is the default layout. I'm sure you are familiar with it. But if I pop on to another server where I do the customization, you can see that it is not organized like that. Completely different. In fact, I've got a bunch of random pins up here. It's removed a bunch of the random text. So yeah, a PA profile arrange. This is how you do it. We have a list of categories that you can add. Badges up to 5. You've got jumps, which is just jumping a line. And you can organize this however you like, which is pretty nice. The default profile here is harem, as you can see, then the Pokedex, the arena, then a jump, then react, and so on. You can read. So yeah, you can see what it means. What's interesting about this command actually is it doesn't have the dollar signs separating everything out, so do take note of that. It is just spaces. There are a few of them that are like that. But yeah, that's a bit weird. But anyway, PA, really nice command. I would advise using that, because obviously this is going to last for a long time. People might be looking at your profile. It could be a bit of a flex if you've got a nice profile up. So yeah, there you go. We also have PB, which is a similar command. That's profile badges. So like I said, you've got all these badges here, the event badges, you've got arena badges, your Kakura badges. You can also put pins up here. Again, this is just the spaces, not with dollar signs, but you can put any badges you like here. If you are interested what counts as a badge, you can just run the badges command, and that's going to show you all of your badges. Like I said, we've got event ones, we've got arena ones, we've got Kakura ones, then after all of these we have pins. So yeah, you can put anything you like on here. which is kind of nice. You can add badges with pb add, change position with pb pause, move pb rem, and set back to default with pb none. So yeah, that's kind of nice. Again, I would advise doing that if you want to have some fun customization on your profile. These are pretty much the two commands that you're looking for, PA and PB. However, they are not the only commands. So we also have PPR, which stands for Poke Profile. Use this command to display up to 12 Pokemon on your profile. Now, I'm pretty sure this is actually a global command, which is interesting because it means you can't display different Pokemon on different servers on your profile, which is kind of sad, but on the other hand, it's nice that you only have to run the command once. But as you can see, I'm displaying my Pokemon here. I think that's only 11 that I'm displaying, actually, not 12. But yeah, there you go. I've just basically shoved a bunch of my favourite Pokemon in here because why not? Got my Rayquaza, my Regigigas, and whatever else, you know. So that's kind of nice. Once again, this is with just spaces instead of dollar signs. This is a much less important bit of the profile customization because probably people aren't looking at your Pokedex bit. Most people assume that it will be left at default, which is just the first Pokemon that you ever caught. But yeah, you can arrange it. And there you go, it's kind of nice, especially since you only have to do it once because, like I say, it is global. So we also have the color commands. We talked about color when it came to EC, the embed color. We also have things like color PR, which will change the embed color of your PR, like here. So here we have the red color that is default, and if I go look here, you can see I've set it to orange. This is unlocked with Tower, with your KT. This is floor 12. This only has 2 upgrades. After that, as you can see, it's just going to be extra keys on your wishes. But yes, you have color PR, there is color MM, color LL, and color SL. They all do the same thing. It's just for, you know, the various things. And like I say, you unlock them all with floor 12 on the tower. Because it is simple customization stuff, I would say you probably don't want to go for floor 12 straight away because there's better floors. But of course, you'll be unlocking floor 12 eventually anyway when you want to move on to your later towers. So you'll probably end up with access to these at some point. So, last thing that we've got left is the sorting of stuff. Sorting is kind of finicky, sometimes a bit pointless, sometimes not. We have sort harem, SM rather, sort marry, which isn't so useful anymore. It used to be reasonably useful when the order of the harem mattered more. Technically this still matters in rank calculations, funnily enough. Whatever is sorted to the top of your harem gets added to a rank calculation, but obviously with the number of players using Mudae, you sorting your favourite character to the top is going to make not so much difference. Also FM is calculated differently now, so it doesn't affect that either. But yeah, sorting your harem's kind of nice. If you've got a small enough harem that it's worth sorting, then yeah, or you can sort it to be maybe your favourite characters at the top or something. What I would advise doing more accurately is rather than sorting individual characters like this, is sorting by flag or note or whatever you like in that sort of sense, because it's much easier than sorting individual characters, and it can make your harem more organised if you fancy having it like that. But in general, I would just leave the harem because by default, obviously, your harem is sorted in the order that you claimed them in, and you can't get that back. So you lose a bit of information by sorting your harem. Personally, I much prefer to leave my harem in the order that it is and then just organise it with flags when I want to see it organised, rather than permanently organising it with a flag so that it always pops up like that. Personally, I don't see the point. But anyway, yes, SM. SM I think is more helpful in other commands, but you can see that in the extra notes at the bottom of each command. Speaking of sorting, we also have SSL pause. Interesting, you you can sort with just SSL actually. I was going to say you can't, but you can. So this is the same as SM basically, but for soulmates instead of for harem. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Sorting your soulmate list, I think, is much more interesting because that's a global thing, and displaying your favorite characters at the top is a lot more interesting. Also, whereas things like rank matter in your harem because for trading purposes, obviously things like rank don't really matter in your soul list because you can't do anything with them anyway. There's no divorcing, there's no trading, there's, I mean, okay, you could divorce your soulmate list, but you don't get anything for it, so don't. But yeah, anyway, so sorting your soulmate list is I think more fun. I try and sort mine. I kind of gave up sorting mine after I'd sorted about 50 pages of it, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, there you go. Again, you can sort it by note and series and all the rest of it. The same also applies to your like list. Doesn't have as many options on this, but whatever. If you want to change the position of something to the top or bottom of your like list, you can just like it again, so that's kind of weird. And then you also have like pause. It's annoying that the like sorting doesn't have as many options as SM and SSL, but whatever, it's not really a problem. You've got to pick one thing to sort, you can't sort everything. Speaking of liking, the last two things on this list is pin like. This is kind of pointless. Liked pins are immune to the auto release pin command, but there's not really too much point in doing that. If you really fancy getting a bunch of duplicates of one certain pin, you could obviously, but I wouldn't really say there's much point. But yeah, anyway, pin like, kind of nice. I think it's much more interesting to display the pins that you like on your profile rather than on your pin like list. I'm not expecting to see people going around looking each other's pin like lists ever. I've never seen it in the past, so this seems a bit pointless to me, but whatever. Equally, we also have poker like. Same rules apply. I think it's better to display the Pokemon you like in your profile rather than in your Pokemon like list. They are also immune for automatic releases. If you want to catch a bunch of duplicates of something, you can, but again, it's kind of pointless. So both of these last two commands just kind of doesn't really matter. Anyway, that is all of the customization stuff I could think of in Mudae. I'm sure there's plenty else that I didn't go through because Mudae is super customizable, but to be fair, this video is already almost half an hour long. I did say I was combining two videos in one here, so that's probably why it's a bit long. I was thinking of doing a quick summary, but there really isn't any point, so whatever. I will just end the video here. Hopefully there was a couple of things on that list that you didn't know about. Like I said before, I didn't even know about the roles left one, so that's fun. A lot of people don't know about Poker Profile and stuff either, so yeah. Anyway, I will leave this one here. Bye!